Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Jared here, and today we are going to be talking about the 34th Disney theatrically released animated film, Hunchback of Notre Dame, released in 1996 and directed by Gary Trousdale and Kirk Wise. I'm excited to finally talk about this movie because this is my favorite Disney film of all time, and I've been kind of putting off this review because I've found it very hard to talk about this movie because this is one of my favorite movies of all time, and that puts a lot of pressure on me to talk about this movie because this means so much to me. This was a movie that came out during my formative years. I viewed it for the first time in high school, and it was a deeply influential film to me and means a lot to me. And I've just been wondering, how in the world am I going to be able to convey that to my audience in a way that doesn't feel self-indulgent, that feels structured and lets you know why I love the movie so much, but doesn't devolve into me just saying, oh, this is great about it, this is great about it, this is great about it. But I thought that the best way I can talk about it is through talking about the themes, especially. That's the stuff that really gets me when I watch this movie. It's the part of the film that I think is the strongest, because this movie, you could easily look at it and see a ton of flaws. It's not a perfect movie. I could see a lot of people picking parts out about it, but the thing is, it's perfect for me, and that's what's most important. And it's one that has stuck with me for many years now, and I'm just excited to finally share my thoughts as we finally talk about Disney's Hunchback of Notre Dame. So to quickly go over, of course, the movie's themes. The movie deals with a lot of interesting things, such as lust, religion, power, prejudice, and ultimately love. And I think it delves into these issues in a very rich and interesting way. I think this ends up being one of the most mature Disney films ever made in just the way that it tells its story and deals with these themes, not just through the dialogue and the story, but through the music as well and the composition. This is a film that is filled to the brim with just beautiful motifs, beautiful language. I think we really have to bring up the novel that this movie is based on, because Victor Hugo's Hunchback of Notre Dame is a classic of classical literature. This is a phenomenal story, and it's so intriguing that Disney decided to tell this story because it just doesn't feel like it really fits into what Disney was about. But I think it does a good enough job of taking those elements from the Victor Hugo novel and transplanting them into a story that I think works for the Disney brand overall by simplifying a few things here and there, focusing on the story of good and evil, right and wrong, and looking at somebody not for their outward appearances, but for what's inside their heart. I think those themes speak to what the Disney brand has really made itself all about. And I think Hunchback of Notre Dame ends up fitting in very well with that. But the main thrust of the story is the question that the movie tries to answer in the very beginning of the film, or at least it provides a question that we hope will be answered by the end of the film. And it's pretty easy to figure out how this will go because there's not really any surprises here. But it's ultimately about what makes a monster and what makes a man. Obviously, we have the monster, Judge Claude Frollo, and the man, Quasimodo. And we see through the story the elements that make up these two people. We see Judge Claude Frollo as this deeply religious man who sees himself as the law, and he thinks that he is doing God's will in everything that he does. And even when he gets into the darker elements of his character and his psyche, especially when it comes to his lust over the gypsy Esmeralda, we begin to see the cracks forming with this character and what he's truly all about. Whereas Quasimodo, who has been separated from the rest of the world his entire life, who has one simple job, who has Judge Claude Frollo breathing down his neck all his life, telling him that he is a monster, that he is a horrible abomination, a creature of evil, created through evil. That is just so hurtful, and we see the goodness in Quasimodo. We see what he is willing to do, the love that he has for Esmeralda, the love that he eventually has for himself. And it's just a wonderful story overall, and I think that it's a great place to start with this film and look at its theming in particular. The movie is also just really good at telling its story through song. The Bells of Notre Dame is one of the best intro songs to any of Disney's animated films. It tells you a story while also getting into the nitty-gritty of its religious aspects. We see Judge Claude Frollo as he is. We see the origins of Quasimodo himself, and we see the deep religious overtones that are in the film that point to the type of story that this is ultimately going to be. And then we also obviously have the greatest villain song of all time, Hellfire, which is not only just a wonderful song, but is just a beautifully animated sequence of Frollo finally just giving in to his sins, giving in to his lustfulness, as he feels judged by the Heavenly Father up above, and he tries to make excuses for his lust. It's not just that he is infatuated with this woman, it is evil that is seeping into his heart, that is turning him away from good. But to him, he's on the side of good. And it's such a complex song with beautiful lyrics and a powerful statement at the end where he finally realizes that he must destroy Esmeralda if he is to have any hope of surviving any of this. It's such a good sequence overall. It's no wonder that it's rated up there as one of the greatest Disney songs of all time. It's a powerful sequence in of itself and the highlight of the film. But I also really like how Hellfire is also juxtaposed with the song that comes previous to it, Heaven's Light. We see Quasimodo himself, falling head over heels for Esmeralda, and we see the love that he has for her, and we see Heaven's Light. Quasimodo is infatuated. He finally sees the light of heaven, and he is not so much in this dark place that he's been his entire life anymore. And then we juxtapose that with Hellfire while we see Judge Claude Frollo just kind of falling apart at the seams. It's just wonderful storytelling through music. And then even through all of this, the movie manages to tackle elements of religion, specifically Christianity, because that is the main religion that is focused on in this film. And I think the best way that the movie conveys this is through the song God Help the Outcast, which is, besides Hellfire, perhaps my favorite song of this entire movie, sung wonderfully. But it has Esmeralda in Notre Dame as she sees and witnesses people asking God for wealth, for love, for all of these material things. And we see how religion transforms people into wants versus needs. We see the wants of many of these people, and we see that next to Esmeralda, who has needs. She wants her people to be helped. Her people are exiles. Her people are seen as lesser, and she doesn't want that. She wants help so bad. And one of the best moments in the entire song is after all of these people display their wants and desires, Esmeralda says that she asks for nothing because she can get by. And that's such a wonderful, mature moment that always breaks my heart as I watch it. It's phenomenal. And ultimately, I think the real hero of this movie is Alan Menken and Stephen Schwartz. These two, they work together on Pocahontas, and Pocahontas's soundtrack is hit or miss for me. But this is filled with some of the best music and best work from these gentlemen, especially Alan Menken. This is his masterpiece. I love his music throughout this entire film. The Gregorian chants, the Latin choir, especially in the film's climax when Quasimodo is saving Esmeralda at Notre Dame. It's wonderful to behold. But even I have to admit that the music does have a little bit of a weak link, and it has to do with the Gargoyles song, A Guy Like You. It's a fine song overall. I just think that it comes at just not the right moment. I understand that this movie is a Disney movie and dealing with a lot of darker themes. I think that this song was put into the film, as are the Gargoyles, to have some levity from a lot of the darker elements of the story. And it feels out of place overall. I still, if that is one criticism that I could have out of one of my favorite movies of all time, it would be that. Not the Gargoyles themselves, just the placement of that song at that time, because it literally comes right after Hellfire. So you have the best song in the movie next to the worst song in the movie as well. But ultimately, The Hunchback of Notre Dame is a powerful story that deals with love, hate, prejudice, and so many other different themes that are so powerful, and they speak directly to me. It's a powerful movie. Quasimodo is one of the best protagonists in any of these Disney films. Claude Frollo is the greatest villain, I think, that Disney has ever done. And it has a powerful soundtrack that is so lovely to listen to, but has so much meaning in it. This is a phenomenal film, guys. This is a 10 out of 10 for me. I can't put it any lower, and that's simply due to the fact that I think this is a masterpiece. It's not going to be a masterpiece for everybody, but this movie came to me at the right time in my life during my formative years, and it has stuck with me to this day. I adore this film to death. It is my favorite Disney animated film and one of my favorite films of all time. But that is all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Look forward to more reviews coming soon. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And stay positive.